Hey, it's Sylvia from MyCrochetory. If uneven crochet edges have been a struggle, I've got some simple tricks to help keep them nice and straight. In this video, I'll show you different methods for single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, and treble crochet, so you can find the one that works best for you. And if you want a step-by-step breakdown, I've put together a detailed blog post over at mycrochetory.com, so be sure to check it out. All right, let's jump in. Share the simple but genius trick to keep your crochet edges perfectly straight when working single crochet. I call it the high loop start, and trust me, it's a total game changer. Here's how you do it. At the end of the row, don't chain one. Instead, gently pull up the loop on your hook until it's about the height of a regular single crochet. Turn your work and insert your hook directly into the very first stitch, then yarn over and finish your single crochet as usual. You can mark this first stitch with a stitch marker so it's easy to find later. Next, work single crochet stitches as usual and make sure to place the last single crochet into the very last stitch, not into the turning chain. To start the next row, again pull up the loop on your hook to match the height of a regular single crochet. Turn your work and insert your hook right into that first stitch and yarn over, and finish your single crochet like normal. And again, work single crochets across the row until you reach the last stitch. Locate your last single crochet clearly and place your final single crochet right into it. This trick keeps your edges looking neat and your crochet nice and polished. Give it a try. You'll love how much better it looks. For the first half double crochet method, I'm going to show you a method I call the no skip edge technique. It helps keep your edges straight with no gaps or missing stitches, making everything look cleaner and straight. Here's how to do it. At the end of the row, chain 2. This chain is just for turning and doesn't count as a stitch. Now turn your work. Yarn over and insert your hook into the very first stitch, the one directly below the turning chain, and finish your half double crochet as usual. Keep going with your half double crochet stitches across the row. Just take your time and pop each stitch into the right spot. And don't forget the last stitch. Always place your final half double crochet into the very last stitch of the row, not the turning chain. If you have trouble spotting it, pop a stitch marker there to make it super easy to find. So from now on, just keep repeating this simple step. Chain 2, turn your work and place your first half double crochet right into that very first stitch. Stick with this and you'll have beautifully straight edges every single time. The next trick I want to show you is something I call the lifted edge technique. After you've finished your first row of half double crochet, don't chain 2 like you usually would. Instead, just gently pull up that last loop a bit taller, about the same height as your half double crochet stitches. Turn your work and put your hook into the very first stitch, making a single crochet. Then, here's the fun part. Look at that stitch you just made. See the loop on its left side? Pop your hook right into that loop, the left leg of the stitch, and make another single crochet. It might feel a little funny the first time, but trust me, it makes your edges look amazing. Keep going with half double crochets all the way across the row, placing each stitch just like you normally would. When you reach the end, don't forget, your last stitch goes into the very last stitch of the row, not into the turning chain. Then repeat exactly what we did before. Pull up your loop a bit taller, turn your work, single crochet into that first stitch, and then single crochet again into the loop on the left side of that stitch. All right, Now just continue crocheting half double crochets across the row as usual. When you get to the end, make sure you place your last stitch into that second single crochet we made at the beginning of the previous row. It's that extra little stitch we made into the side loop, remember? Doing this helps your edges stay nice and neat every single time. Now here's another trick I love, the half double crochet standing stitch edge. After finishing your row, don't chain two. Instead, gently pull up the loop on your hook until it's just about the height of a half double crochet and turn. Hold it firmly with your finger to keep it in place. Next, bring your hook forward and around behind the first stitch. Still holding the yarn securely, insert your hook into the very first stitch, yarn over, and finish your half double crochet as normal. This part can feel a bit tricky when you're just starting out, especially at the end when you're trying to hold the yarn steady and keep it from slipping. But don't worry, it gets easier with practice. You can pop a stitch marker into this stitch to keep track of it. That way, when you get to the end of the next row, you won't have to guess. You'll know exactly where to go. Now just keep going across your row, putting a half double crochet in each stitch like you always do. When you reach the end, just repeat the steps we went through. Skip the chain 2, pull up your loop a bit higher, hold it tight, and start your next row with this standing half double crochet technique. It'll feel natural soon, and your edges will look great. Alright, let's go over the no skip edge technique for double crochet. When you get to the end, chain 3 and turn. These 3 chains won't count as a stitch. They just help you get the height right. Now yarn over and place your first double crochet right into that very first stitch, right under your turning chain. Then keep going with double crochets across the row. At the end, don't forget, your last stitch should go into the final double crochet, not the turning chain. Just keep repeating. Chain 3, turn and start your first double crochet in the first stitch. This little trick will keep your edges nice and straight. Another great way to keep your double crochet edges straight is the lifted edge technique. If you remember the trick I showed you for half double crochet, this one works the exact same way. Alright, instead of chaining 3, just pull up the last loop a little and turn your work. Now go straight into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop and make a single crochet. Before moving on, take a look at that stitch you just made. See that little vertical strand on the left side? That's the left leg. Insert your hook there and make another single crochet. Do the same thing again. Find the left leg of the second single crochet and make one more. This slowly builds up the height so it blends in smoothly with the rest of your double crochets. Just keep going with double crochets across the row like you always do. When you get to the end, do the same thing again. Skip the chain 3, pull up a long loop and start the next row with those 3 single crochets. When you're about to do your last stitch, make sure you put it in the right spot. Look for the third single crochet from the start of the last row. Just insert your hook into the top of that stitch and finish your double crochet like usual. Alright, let's try the double crochet standing stitch, a great way to start your row without that bulky chain 3. First, pull up the loop on your hook just a little, keep it shorter than a regular double crochet. Then, turn your work. Now, hold the yarn down with your finger so it doesn't slip and bring your hook forward and around behind the first stitch. Next, keeping the yarn snug, insert your hook into the first stitch of the row, yarn over and pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through the first 2 loops. Now you have 2 loops left. Yarn over one more time and pull through those last 2 loops. And that's it. You've just made your first double crochet without using a turning chain. Keep going across the row like normal and you'll notice how much cleaner and neater your edges look. Just keep doing this at the start of every row. Skip the chain 3 and use the standing double crochet instead. It'll make your edges look way cleaner and more even. Trust me, it's worth it. Okay, let's start with the first method to keep your treble crochet rows straight. When you're starting a treble crochet row, just chain 4 and turn your work. Yarn over twice, then go straight into the first stitch right below that turning chain and make your first treble crochet just like usual. Now just keep going, making 1 treble crochet in each stitch across the row. When you get to the end, make sure your last treble crochet goes into the very last stitch. That's it, just repeat the same steps. Chain 4, turn and start your first treble crochet in the first stitch. The next method is called the lifted edge technique, and it works just like it did for the other stitches, but since treble crochet is taller, we need to adjust it a bit. Instead of chaining 4 at the beginning of the row, pull up the loop on your hook slightly. Then turn your work. Now, to gradually build the right height, start by making a single crochet in the first stitch. Before moving on, find the left leg of that single crochet, the little vertical strand running down the side, and make another single crochet into it. Next, do the same thing again. Find the left leg of the second single crochet and work another single crochet into it. And one more time, find the left leg of the third single crochet and make a fourth single crochet. At this point, you've built up enough height to match a treble crochet. From here, just keep working treble crochets across the row as usual. When you reach the end, make sure your last treble crochet goes into the fourth single crochet from the previous row. Then just repeat this process at the start of each row. Skip the chain 4, pull up a loop, and work 4 single crochets. The third way to keep your treble crochet edges straight is the treble crochet standing stitch. Instead of chaining 4, this trick helps you start each row smoothly without that bulky chain. Here's how to do it. First, pull up the loop on your hook just a little, slightly shorter than a regular treble crochet, then turn your work. Hold the yarn down with your finger so it doesn't slip. Then bring the hook forward and around behind the first stitch. Do that twice to keep it nice and secure. Now, insert your hook into the first stitch of the row. yarn over again and pull up a loop. You should have 4 loops on your hook. From here, just work the stitch like a regular treble crochet. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. And there you have it, your first treble crochet without a chain 4. Now, just continue working treble crochets across the row as usual. That's all for today. I hope these tricks help you get those nice straight edges in your crochet projects. Give them a try and see which one works best for you. If you like this tutorial, stick around and check out my other videos for more crochet tips and techniques. And don't forget to visit my blog at MyCrochetory.com for more tutorials, free patterns, and plenty of crochet inspiration. Happy crocheting and see you next time!